Eat shit. Fuck you. You're an asshole. Fucking jerk.
For the YouTubers. Now, funny enough, I've had this over 30 years and the battery's never worn out. Now, I don't know if that's karma. I don't know, because it has those kind of batteries. In 30 years, a few comments this morning. I was talking to my kid brother last night about something else after you guys all went out to dinner. And he's 56 years old, so he's not a kid. And compared to this group, he's an old git. There's a reason why, for the YouTubers, why I'm so hard. Last night I did an audition for Show Business My Life from this room for about an hour and 5 minutes. They don't call it an audition because a guy my senior as I am shouldn't have to audition, right? But I'm called a talent now, a talent. And people are asking why fucking gits around the room are standing up. I'll get to that. They want to know why you're fucking standing up. If you've been bad, you know how when you're in school, and why you don't have a dunce cap on. I get these. This is what the fuck these people ask me. Anyway, I'm hard because it's hard. And Matt talked about the Marine Corps. They tear you down. Not just, most of the services, they tear you down and then they build you up, basically. And kids out there, I mean, it's a motherfucker out there. If you're going to do anything with your life. If you're not going to do anything with your life, then it's, you know, as the pundits say, it's a process. You just meander along and bounce off this rock and bounce off that rock. And if you don't know where you're going, any fucking road will do. But, and forget the Hall of Fame, or you want to be an influencer, and you know, forget all that. But if you want to accomplish anything meaningful in life, even if you want to save the forest and the planet, and you really get after it, it's a fucking thing, a hard thing. And I would be disingenuous and I would be a shit coach if I didn't prepare you. These other guys don't prepare you for trying to get from A to B in the quickest time possible. Now, if you want to just fuck around and, that's great. For those of you that are, and we got a lot of university age kids here, if that's what you want to do, that's great. But this is the wrong motherfucking place to be, if that's what you want. There's all kinds of other people that do this shit and they're nice to you. And then they upsell you, fuck you, and I mean, all that, that's great. I don't do any of that. And only by accident, because I have the Christmas seminar now, somebody told me that's an upsell. Well, I mean, I guess it is. I never thought of it that way, but it is an upsell. But for 22 years, I didn't have that upsell, and now I only have it by accident, really. But it's hard, and so it's just like my kids I was hard on, and I have, people that ask me, are any of you regrets, Mr. Peña, it's because you were so hard on your kids? No, I wish I was harder. And compared to how most of you were raised, I mean, they were like in Auschwitz. And like I told you, when I went off to the military and everybody's crying at night, literally crying in their bunks at night. For those of you that have been through any kind of tough boot camp, crying. Now, and I hate these guys that use this fucking word boot camp about these other seminars. You wouldn't know a boot camp if it bit you in the fucking dick or the vagina. Boot camps are hard. These marketing boot camps, these fucking vaginas put on are nothing. They're a fucking, they have them in Fiji and they have them in, forget about it. Hell's Island is where they had to have these motherfuckers. But anyway, when I was in boot camp and the guys are crying at night, you could hear them crying themselves asleep. A couple of you that went to a boarding school cried yourself to sleep too. But that still wasn't a boot camp. Because they were away from their mommy and daddies in boot camp. But I thought it was a fucking walk in the park going to boot camp. compared to how I was raised. You know, I'm not demeaning any of these people that have been captured and put in prison camps like Senator McCain or in Auschwitz and that. I'm not lessening any of that. But I could have lived through that shit because of how my dad raised me and prepared unknowingly, because he didn't have a father. He was preparing me for the real world. You guys are not fucking prepared. A couple of you are kind of semi-prepared. And that's why you're suffering. Now, yesterday we had a role play. We viewed a role play from before, from two guys, pretty slick. The German and the young kid from Pittsburgh. And then we followed up with a role play of our own with the two Frenchies and the fucking Eaton kid. And they were pretty good, the kid, you know. And I don't want to blow too much smoke and say that they were better than they were, but it is easier if you've got some education. Education will out. Not just education from good universities and schools that these kids three went to, but education in the world, because they're not juniors. To me, you're juniors, but they're not 20 years old. All these guys, Greg, how old are you? 34? 31? We won't say Valerie, but Valerie's in the 30s. Right, Valerie? Yeah, okay. So they didn't just fall off the fucking pumpkin truck, okay? They've been out there. And and they sounded like it. They have this je ne sais quoi, this special sauce from experience coupled with education. And now that I know we're a kindred spirit from Bear Stearns, whoa, c'est magnifique. He's rather be known as, I think, a Goldman Sachs guy, because he is ex-Goldman Sachs. But I'm hard because it's hard, and I want you to be prepared out there. I want you to be like the fifth horseman of the apocalypse when you get out there, just fucking cutting, slashing, and shitting down everybody's neck. And even when you do that, it's not a guarantee that you're going to make it. And when I did this audition thing, showbiz is my life. And I was teasing because I was sitting right here, and the only people in here were Kat and EJ and the camera, and we had them the big Skype on there. And of course, and then one of the women in Hollywood that was on the other side, she says, Mr. Peña, showbiz is our life. Now I'm poking fun at it, because showbiz, I don't give a fuck. If the reality show happens, good. I'll reach a lot more people. If it doesn't happen, it's taken for fucking ever. Now I know why these movies go over budget 900%. And Jesus Christ, we've been at this 19 months now. And but that's why I'm hard. And this is not for everybody. And I just found out, somebody told me that my book was endorsed by the Book of the Month or some. Not that, I don't mean that. By another big speaker, and I haven't looked at it yet. I just got an email. I have to find out what it was all about. But I don't normally get promoted by other guys for all the obvious reasons that I just alluded to, which is fine with me. I wish them all luck, and they all got to make a living. I hope they make a good living. And I hope they make a good living by trying to sell as little disingenuous shit as possible. That's my, Allah be with them, And by the way, I'm not turning to being a Muslim. When I say these people write me this shit, I don't understand. Just because I say Allah be with you, and that doesn't mean that I'm converting.
I'll send you a burqa for Christmas.
Yeah, a burqa. I'm not converting, guys. The Buddha be with you, But anyway, if any religion's fine with me. Everybody has the right to pray or be devoted to some higher power. Now, I want to ask Joel, our Eaton boy, if you had to give a takeaway from what has happened here so far with you in 2 days, Okay. What is, since Etonians have produced all these prime ministers and all the elite of Britain for several hundred years, from the Duke of Wellington down, what's your takeaway so far?
I suppose similar to...
Speak up.
Takeaway is that so far is there's nothing special about us, but then there's nothing special about everyone else in the world, and we can achieve just as much as as everyone else. We don't need to be intimidated by anyone else. But what I'm starting to understand is that there are no guarantees. It's really hard, and you have to believe in yourself. Really.
Faith. You have to have faith in yourself. You know, my favorite British politician, and he's on the hall of my influencers, and I've studied him along with Hitler and a few others. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, vis-a-vis my public speaking, is Winston Churchill, and who really didn't give a shit about what anybody thought. It was pretty obvious. And Maggie Thatcher, who I had the privilege, I didn't know Mr. Churchill, but I did know Mrs. Thatcher. When I say no, I mean I met her. I didn't know, like we were not hanging. We weren't hanging out at the World Cup. But I don't think Mrs. Thatcher hung out to the World Cup. And when I remember, she read chemistry. That's what you say when you study. She read chemistry at Oxford, if my memory serves me correctly, and she loved to cook, which is, when you think about it, you know, she liked to cook. So I can just see her waddling around the kitchen for her husband, I think Mark. Dennis, excuse me, her son's name, Mark. Yeah. Waddling around the kitchen, which is a little, a considerable dichotomy from her political career. It's hard out there. But if you want it bad enough, you can do it. And the easiest way, and it's not easy, but the easiest methodology is QLA that I know of. I've been doing it for myself about 45 years. And life does not have to be a process. Somebody asked me what I meant by that. It doesn't. I mean, life doesn't have to be a journey. It's a process once you come here. And you dictate what the process is. And you're not subject to the whims of the rest of the world. You got a 7-step marching order, which the first we're going to start speaking about. The first 2 days of the seminar out of 6 was foundation. And now we're going to talk about the 7 steps. And there's no deviation. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then go back to 1 again. 7 is exit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1 again. Okay. Thank you.